When I started the Cruz team in 2016, I was a loan officer assistant. And for those loan officer assistants that know what it's like to be a loan officer assistant, you know it's very labor intensive, right? Middle of the night text messages, phone calls, 1,000,001 questions. And I knew that it's where I needed to start my business. And I was a loan officer assistant for a high profile loan officer. He was very well known in the Kissimmee area. And I just knew that seeing him be on bus benches and his billboards, I knew that's what I wanted for myself. And I knew it was going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of grunt work. And looking back now, I wouldn't change a thing. I think in the moment it sucked really bad because you just want to be there. And I knew that it's going to take a lot of work. So I put in the work from 2016 to now. We have grown our team. I have a lot of things that I want to do. We're just getting started. I want to impact more of my communities. I want to be able to continue to grow my team and to impact families more than ever. And we're just getting started. There's one thing that comes to mind when I think of something that has impacted my career profoundly. And that's actually a personal story of mine. I was 22 years old and I purchased my first home. I mean, I remember like yesterday, I was at SeaWorld and my brother comes over to me and says, "You're the only one of us that haven't bought a house." And I was like, "Yeah, and I'm 22 years old. I am okay renting. And he's like, "You need to buy." And then he pulled out his phone. And at that time, again, I was just a loan officer assistant. And he pulled out his phone and like, "I'm gonna get you with one of my teams, one of my preferred lenders." And he was a realtor at that time. And while waiting in line, I submit the application. And by the time that I got off the ride, I was already pre-qualified. And I was like, "Holy crap! Okay, this is pretty cool." And I bought the house in 2016 for $170,000. And when I bought the house, it was an ugly house on Zillow. It was one of those listings where the listing agent takes the photos with the iPhone and the house is dirty, but it was a pocket listing. So my brother's wife, Danny, she is still a buyer's agent, and that was a listing in the brokerage. And she's like, "Hey, I know the photos look ugly, but we could really get you an amazing deal on the house, seller concession, all the works. Let's just go see it." When I walked into that house, I knew it was mine. It was perfect. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, little backyard. It had a little small retention pond in the back. And I was like, "Let's do it." And fast forward to now, I was able to sell that same home, my first home, for $420,000, giving me so much equity that because of that home, when I was 22 years old, buying my first home, I was able to start my own family and purchase my dream home. So looking back at it in that moment, I thought, "Oh my God, I am a homeowner. I have to I don't think at that time I really thought what an impact buying my first home could do. And I'm so happy I listened to the professionals and I looked at that house because it has changed my life completely. Core values that impact my life professionally and personally, I think transparency is so important professionally. When things are bad, no matter what it is, whether it's you've had a bad day or something's happening bad at work or a file's going sideways, I think that just being able to say, "Hey guys, there's something wrong and this is an issue that I am trying to resolve and look into resolving this issue," and not keeping it quiet, because it kind of turns into a snowball effect, just like in personal life. You maybe don't say what's really on your mind and you hold it back, hoping that it goes away and kind of builds up and builds up. And I think it's just easier to just say there's something wrong, and that transparency and the communication. Speaking what's on your mind wasn't something that I was ever good at. I think I've always been a people pleaser, so I've always been the one to just be like, "Hey, everything's okay. We're gonna make it work. Everything's gonna be fine." And over time, when things don't turn out fine, I find that it's a lot harder on myself because I wish I would have said something sooner. So communication and transparency are both two of the most important things that I hold really close as core values. How do I manage my personal life and my professional career? Well, it's easier said than done. I mean, it's tough because at some point, I have the pixie dust pass at Disney World. And so for those that know, you can only go Monday through Friday. And I have a 7-month-old daughter. And so sometimes I think I just want to play hooky, right? And then be able to spend, but then I also know I have a real career that I have to be present. And in the beginning, it was not like that. I would not have been able to go out and enjoy my family on a Wednesday. Now, being in the industry for over 13 years, I've created a system that allows me now to balance my life with an amazing team that I have. And I heard something from one of my mentors when I started, and it was a CEO of a company that I worked for. And she said, I'm not one or the other. So people mistake, I have to be mom after 5, or I have to be a CEO from 9 to 5. And so she said something that really impacted me, which was, I can wear multiple hats at once. I don't have to be mom after 5 or on Saturday and Sunday only. I don't have to be a CEO. I could be a CEO 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I can also be a phenomenal parent 7 days a week. And so I took that to heart. And when I'm out and about and I'm out at Disney, that doesn't mean that I'm going to turn off my phone or that I'm going to throw it in a locker and that just has to wait. No, you can be present, right? So if something's happening, I'm present with my family because you just never know, Sophia, my 7-month-old, she's going to crawl in any moment, And so that might be when I'm on a phone call and I might need to tell that person, can you give me a second? There's something really big happening right now I want to be a part of. And I'm going to put it on hold and I'm going to be there at that moment. So you don't have to choose one or the other. And I think that is how I balance. The most challenging moment in my career is the ever-changing issues that arise, which are the market is crashing. There may be a recession, the presidential campaign, or people not wanting to buy because rates are too high, or things internally, which is your processor decided to find another job, or something happens to your team member and they need to take a few weeks off. So you can never really know what's going to happen or how to manage it. You just kind of roll with it. And so I think that what makes me a little bit unique is that I wore a million hats in my career, from an LOA to a processor to an ops manager. And I think that I just know what it takes from A to Z to get a loan closed. And I think that being able to just roll with, if I need to be a processor for a week, let's rock and roll. If I need to be an LOA for a week, hey, let's do it. I'll be the best processor LOA because I know that I have to be there for my team and support them. And most importantly, my clients that need me. So I can't really think of one because I feel like every single day there's something new, but I think you just roll with it. And you roll, there's this one, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's this where it says going with the flow, and it's these people on a boat and what the flow looks like, and it's like turbulence and it's like crazy, and they're like, and that's kind of what it is. You go into it and you're like going with the flow, and then turbulence, and it's like these waves, and that's what the flow looks like. And so you just kind of roll with the punches. One advice that I would give someone starting in the mortgage industry is an advice that I actually got when I started. And at that time, I was very ignorant. And this really, really amazing loan officer, and she still is an amazing loan officer in my market. When I wanted to be a loan officer, I had actually reached out to her and I said, I want to be a loan officer on your team. And she has said to me, very serious, because if you've seen the things that she's seen in her career, she's very serious. And she says, yeah, I don't think that's going to be the right move for you. I think you need to be an assistant or do an entry-level job. And I took, at that time, offense because I thought, well, I was already an LOA for a few years. I just got my license. I'm bilingual. I'm hungry. I'm young. And I was like, yeah, right. So I went out and I became a loan officer. And that landed me in the hospital a few times my first 3 years. Anxiety, panic attacks, high blood pressure, couldn't sleep at night. And I think to myself, if I would have allowed myself the grace to go in it with the knowledge that I know now, I think I would have said, start slow. It's not a race. It really is a journey, and it is something where you just need to take your time, learn from other people's mistakes. Don't make the mistake I made, and go in it with the idea. If you really want it that bad, put the work in it, and you'll be where you need to be at the end. Ensuring that my team provides top-notch service to our clients looks a little bit unique because there's a lot of moving parts. So you got processors, you got underwriters, you got underwriting managers, you got the operations manager, you got appraisers, and you have so many people involved, title companies, realtors, and of course clients. And so everybody needs to be satisfied with your service. And so I break apart my day a little bit different. It's very the same each day. And it is first thing in the morning from 9 to 12. I'm looking at my under contract from 12 to 1. I eat, believe it or not, and I have to have lunch. And then from after 1 to 5, that's where I'm doing my prospecting to ensure that all the clients that have applied, that they're collecting documents, structuring issues that people might have. So it's very structured that way. Some days are better than others. And on Tuesdays, we get together for our marketing day. We are able to do pipeline reviews. I do pipeline calls twice a week with my operations staff. So it is a system that has worked for me. And I think that checking heartbeats has always been something that I've been very passionate about. Checking in on my loan officer and saying, hey, how's it going? Do you need anything? Because they are the liaison for me to know if a deal's going south. So they will tell me, hey, this is an issue that I'm having. How do I resolve it? And then I'm there to say, this is how I would do it, and go tackle, go get it done. And that's how I ensure that my clients are getting the best service. One of the myths that people have about loan officers in the business is that it's only a button, that we apply, that a client applies, they have great credit, boom, approved, let's rock and roll. And it's just 1, 2, 3. There's so much that goes into it. And for those loan officers that are new, or that realtors that get their mortgage loan officer license because they're in the real estate business and they believe that they kind of know what it takes to be a loan officer, I wish you the best, and I will be your biggest supporter. It's a lot harder, right? There's guidelines, there's politics, even in your company, and there are so many factors that go into it, right? And I guess one of the myths is that it's easy. How hard can it be? You literally take applications, gather some documents, review it, and then call it a day. While there is some basics that go to that truth is it's not rocket science, but it kind of is a little bit of rocket science. The back end, the easy part is taking an application and pulling the credit, but then there's looking at that credit report. There's looking at that income. Is it variable income? Or is the borrower declining of income? Are there large deposits? Is there fraud that's happening? And so you want to make sure that you are working with a loan officer that has been there, done that. And if you are working with a loan officer that's a little newer, just make sure that they have a mentor or somebody on their team that can help them through the hard times. One of the things that I do to keep myself up to date with the industry trends are I subscribe to every single thing that's out there. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. I look at MBS Highway, Mortgage Daily. I also have really good friends that are in the mortgage industry that we have a group where we kind of give each other feedback while they're not even with our company or we're in different areas of the mortgage business. We all keep each other up in the loop of what's going on and what are their challenges, what are our challenges, and working in a community. And so yeah, I try to keep myself really engaged. Believe it or not, social media isn't always bad if you know how to use it. And social media is that. You put media out there to be social with it. And I think a lot of people just put things out there and just be like, oh, boom, put it out there. But you have that social aspect. And so when I see loan officers or branch managers that are out there putting great content out there, I am social with them and I ask them, great information. Can I, tell me a little bit more about your perspective and what you think is going to happen. And I think that it being social as well as being engaged with the information that amazing companies put out allows me to stay on top of what's changing in the market. It took some time for me to really understand the importance of having hobbies in this business and being able to disconnect. So I started back when I was in school, in middle school, I started piano, and I've always kind of kept, I'm very big on music. So I play piano, I play guitar, I like to sing, not good at it, but I like to sing, and I like to involve myself in that. So I do have a piano at home and I love to play. I have a daughter and she is literally my biggest hobby right now. I think that has really helped me understand the importance of life and having that disconnect, and helped me be able to say, okay, I think now I am going to, on a weekend, I'm not just like, oh, work. And, being young, you don't really think about the importance of having a hobby. I think that is like grind, wake up, 6 a.m. until 1 a.m. and go. And then you start getting into your 30s, and then you start realizing that life is more than just that. And your body says, hold up, wait a minute. And so you got to listen to your body. And one of the hobbies is I love traveling, new experiences, new food, and just being present with friends and family. I think if that's one of the hobbies that I think everyone should have, is that.